Thank you for joining us today for the budget consultation meeting. This is the start of the budget process. Before the city starts putting together the recommendation draft budget for next year, we meet with residents to talk about investments in services and infrastructure. Council and city staff consider the comments from residents alongside with various financial pressures, opportunities, and legislative service levels before setting the guidelines for drafting next year's budget. These meetings are one way of residents can interact with council members and city staff. You can also call or email your ward councillors. There is a survey that's available in paper copy and paper copies at City Hall or online at connectpeterborough.ca/2023 budget. On the city budget's engagement page at connectpeterborough.ca, you will find information on the budget process and the previous budget books. After this series of more informal public budget meetings, there will be a formal public meeting with City Council on June the 22nd to hear from the community before Council considers setting the guidelines for the draft 2023 budget. The draft 2023 budget is expected to be posted for public review in early December. Then there will be more opportunity for residents to share their ideas and comments before Council reviews the budget documents and considers approving the financial plan in late January 2023. Before we ask the City Finance team to give a brief presentation, I'd like to thank Councillor Gary Baldwin, Council's Vice Chair of Finance as well, and I don't see any other, the Mayor or any of the Council members who would have them here. I don't see them here. So I will turn it over to my Finance Vice Chair, Gary Baldwin, to say a few words. Gary, I believe you're muted.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Chair, and good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be with everyone this evening. Those who may be joining us live here, and those who will be perhaps looking at the replay of this at a future date. I want to take the opportunity to thank the finance team, Mr. Freeman and Yvette Poplinski, for assisting with the information this evening. I want to also take this opportunity, Mr. Chair, to thank Brendan Wedley and Sharon Hayton for the communications team and setting up and moderating this evening. Very much looking forward to hearing from the community as we begin upon the process of setting a budget guideline for Council's consideration. We have 4 other consultation meetings after this evening, and while they're set up in a ward-by-ward basis, they're open to the public, and if you can't make a budget opportunity to engage this evening, certainly take advantage of the other 4 opportunities. With that, Mr. Chair, I'll turn it back to you.
And with that, I invite Richard Freeman, the Commissioner of Corporate and Legislative Service, to kick us off with some information on the city's annual budget. Richard, take it away.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate the opportunity this evening to talk about our 2023 budget. It's hard to believe that we're kicking it off already, and looking forward to the discussions this evening. I'm just going to take a moment and share my screen, and perhaps you could let me know when you're able to see it.
There, it's up there now, Richard.
All right, thank you. So I have a few slides, just a handful of slides that I want to go through this evening, just to kind of help give some context to the city's budget process and what's included in the budget and where to find information about it. So I'm going to start by a number of key dates for engagement with the budget process, and we're starting this evening with our virtual drop-in with this ward meeting in Ashburnham. And as you can see on the screen here, there's a number of opportunities and for participation in the budget throughout the entire process. And of course, after we've heard from the public throughout the spring and summer, staff will begin to develop the draft 2023 budget. Finance Committee will review and approve the budget guideline in June. We'll give a preliminary guideline report, and then once again invite the public to weigh in on the preliminary guideline that is presented. And then we're hoping that council will establish in July the 2023 budget guideline. In the fall, of course, staff will finalize the draft budget, and we'll be presenting to the Finance Committee on December 5th later this year. And we're hoping and anticipating that Finance Committee budget deliberations will be held in January of 2023, and with an approval of the 2023 budget late in January. For those who may not be familiar with the city's budget process and where the city gets its money, I just want to take a moment here and just share with you some of the sources of revenues that the city uses each year. And you can see on the slide here this evening all the pieces of the pie, and I've separated them into various categories of revenue. Together, they amount to almost $300 million, but $298.2 million in the 2022 budget. And you can certainly see on the left side here, property taxes account for a fairly significant portion of the city's overall budget revenues at 49%. So certainly, property taxation is a large piece of the city's budget, but we have a number of other sources of revenue as well, such as grants from the provincial and federal governments, and such as federal gas tax and provincial gas tax. And in fact, you can see at about this 2 o'clock position up here. There's the 2022 budget, I believe, included over $60 million of provincial grants. And certainly, if you look down at the bottom of the pie chart in that 6 o'clock position, other fees and service charges also account for a substantial portion of the city's budget. Of course, there's a number of areas where those funds go, and I just want to take a moment and show you where the tax dollars are spent, and the various how the budget is divided up at a fairly high level. Of course, much of the spending is for legislative requirements and provincial program delivery and essential services. And certainly the revenues that I shared a moment ago on the last screen are used to fund numerous costs, operating costs such as heat and electricity, and maintenance costs across, of course, all city facilities. Obviously, wages and for staff and in the delivery of services and programs like recreation and social services, and everything from garbage collection to plowing roads and sidewalks, transit drivers, police and fire, and so on. The city's budget is divided up into a number of departmental areas, and I just want to take a moment and speak briefly about them. And I'm going to start at kind of that 1 o'clock position here. You can see the Chief Administrative Officer department, and that includes, of course, the Communications Division, Fire Services, Emergency Management. We have the Corporate and Legislative Services, which really provides services a lot to both internal and external customers. We have the Clerk's Office, Human Resources, Legal Services, Financial Services, including the Tax Office, Facilities Management and Planning, and Information Technology. Then at about the 3 o'clock position, we have the Infrastructure and Planning Services, which really includes engineering and construction, public works, waste management, the airport, transit, planning, and building inspection. And then coming around at the bottom of the pie here, we have the community services area, which includes social services, arenas and recreation, art gallery, the museum, the library, and so on. We have a number of external agencies that we fund, and those include police services, public health, economic development, Fairhaven, paramedics, Humane Society, and the business improvement area, just to name a few of them. This next pie chart on your screen captures, in the 2022 budget, what does the capital program look like? And how did we spend the dollars for infrastructure? And you can certainly see that a significant portion of the capital budget was directed towards infrastructure planning services, and that accounted for over $60 million and in the 2022 budget. So a huge focus on roads and bridge construction, storm and sanitary sewer networks, and the purchase of major pieces of equipment. Corporate and legislative services, you can see on the right-hand side of the pie chart, and that 2 and 3 o'clock position includes investments in city facilities and various amenities throughout the community. Certainly, the CAO's division includes investments in major pieces of equipment like fire vehicles and so on. Already in the 2023 budget, as we turn our minds to this upcoming budget year, there's a number of considerations that we're making. Obviously, we want to hear about what are the priorities in the community, and we want to combine those with, of course, our legislative program requirements, the demands for services and infrastructure within the community. And of course, at the end of the day, we're going to have to make decisions about how we balance those wants and needs with the funding and that's available in our community. And already, as we contemplate the 2023 budget, we know that there's a number of impacts that will be coming down the pipe, and I just want to talk briefly about a couple of them. First, of course, is our investing in infrastructure. We have a capital financing policy at the city that allows for a maximum increase of our all-inclusive rate of up to 1% to support our capital program. And that has been central in terms of providing the financial resources we need to help repair and refurbish the city's infrastructure. Certainly, as we contemplate 2023, staff are hopefully going to be able to make a recommendation that we at least increase it by 0.5% to help address those needs. And certainly we'll be monitoring that amount, and we'll be trying to direct as much as we can into investing in infrastructure in the community. The next one I think is familiar to many of us here this evening. And as we go to the pump and fill up our vehicles, of course, we're impacted by what's happening in the worldwide markets in terms of fuel prices. And in 2023, as we consider what does that mean for the city, we're looking at a budget increase of, we think, about $1 million. And to put that into some context, because it's hard to get our heads around that sort of impact, but really for every penny of increase at the pump, that's about $30,000 to the city of Peterborough. So fairly substantial in terms of financial impacts of what we're seeing at the pump for our fuel needs. And the last one I'm going to mention this evening, and of course, these are only three that I'm focusing in on here this evening. There's a number of other ones that we perhaps are looking at closely, but certainly these three are kind of bubbling up to the top. And the last one here this evening is insurance costs, and we all know what's happening with insurance industry and hardening of the insurance markets. In the last 2 years, actually, in the city's budget, we've experienced about a 76% increase in our insurance premiums. And it's quite possible that there's going to be another increase in 2023, possibly about 20%. We're anticipating, that equates to about $465,000 for the city. We try to include as much information as we can on the city's website. And these last few slides, I just want to direct you to Peterborough Connect and what's some of the budget information that is available there on the city's website. There's a wealth of information, everything from where does your tax dollars go, and and where does the city get its money. Some of the things I've talked about, you can look at some of the budget books in previous years and just to avail yourself with the wealth of information that's available. We try to bring it down, the budget into amounts that folks can understand, and the services and programs that are delivered in the community. And so we take a typical homeowner and what does that mean for them, and so we try to indicate to that property homeowner, what does it mean for when they pay their tax bill? How does that translate into services that are provided in the community? So that sort of information is available on the city's website. Certainly don't forget to take a moment and fill out the budget survey. It's available online now, and we're hoping to have a great response from the community this year. And with that, I'm going to turn it back over, I believe, to Brendan, and I want to thank everyone for participating in the budget session here this evening.